So, hello everyone. Joining us today on the series is Melissa Collett, CEO of Insurtech UK, which is a trade association focused on championing innovation in insurance. Melissa has more than 25 years of experience in the UK insurance landscape, and interestingly, and also I think for the first time on the show, actually has a blend of legal expertise and regulatory insights to grant is actually what is quite a unique understanding of consumer protection. Melissa spent time at the Financial Ombudsman Service as well as time at the Chartered Insurance Institute. And Melissa and I recently met at an insurance pitch day where she was one of four judges. I unfortunately didn't win, but as a consolidation prize, I now get to talk to Melissa on the show. So, with that, welcome, Melissa. And maybe we start with your own intro and maybe a little bit about actually how you become CEO of Insurtech UK.
Thanks so much, Danny. It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks for the very kind introduction. A lot of people don't know that I'm a lawyer by background, and I have have the background that you mentioned. And I think that it's great to raise it now and again. Not always, because lawyers aren't so popular, but it's really useful to have that insurance law background when it comes to helping insurtechs to thrive. And I can elaborate on that during our conversation.
Good. Well, then maybe starting with Insurtech UK and maybe how you come to be the CEO.
Absolutely. So I started in this role in September in 2023. So just over 18 months ago. And it's been a real whirlwind. Really fantastic role working with innovative people, entrepreneurial people who kind of straddle the world of insurance and tech. It's like really my dream job. So how did I get this role? I started my career, as I mentioned, in the legal world, and I started out specifically in insurance law. And from that point of view, it gave me a really great broad access to lots of different insurance companies who were clients. So I met loads of people right across the sector and found out, what they do and what are the issues. And it gave me a really great introduction to the whole industry. And then from there, I've had throughout my career lots of roles that straddle the whole industry. And most recently, you mentioned the role at the Chartered Insurance Institute. I was one of the exec directors there. And again, that allowed me to kind of see the whole gamut from, the smallest brokers to the largest household name insurers and everything in between. So it is really advantageous when you're in a role like mine right now, because in fact, I was just on the phone this morning with somebody. He's in an insurtech in a sales role just for 1 year, never touched insurance before. And I said, wow, I've been in insurance 25 years. And he's like, well, I think I figured it out now. And I was like, okay, well, I've been in it 25 years. I'm still figuring it out. But, good luck to him. But I think that it's great to have the background that I have for this role, because I know kind of how all the pieces fit together. And I also can bring along, my understanding of the whole regulatory picture, to know, because everyone's regulated slightly differently, and it's really important to know where you stand.
Good. I'm a few years into the insurance market and I am still, every time I think I've learned something, it's disproved. So always be learning. But you kind of touched upon the insurtech landscape and obviously in your role and the types of organizations that you work with, you've probably got quite a wide and all-encompassing views. But maybe kind of what's your take on the insurtech landscape today?
Yeah, so my role involves talking a lot about InsurTech, representing the companies in the association, of which there are 140 InsurTechs, 40 insurers and partners. So we've grown a lot since we were set up in 2018. And we've grown, in fact, by 25% since I joined. So I'm really proud of that fact. And so I really see it's really important, I think, for this sector to have its own membership association to represent it and tell the world how important insurtech is, because otherwise, you get swallowed up in this discussion about fintech, which is much, much broader. It has much, different players in it. And then insurtech, I think, gets really sidelined. So my message is insurtech is a really important sector in its own right. And I have got lots of facts to back that up. So we did a report with McKinsey, who happened to be our principal partners, and they did a big survey with our members and a lot of other research besides. And what they found is that actually the UK has the largest number of insurtechs per capita in the world. So, and if you look at sort of the number of insurtechs in the UK, it's the most in Europe, and it's second only to the US, which is obviously a much broader market. So, really big sector in the UK. The UK is really leading the way, and it's worth 20 billion to the UK economy. 20 billion, which is another incredible number and just testament to like what the UK is building. And this is a sector that really didn't even exist prior to 2016. I think 2016 is when the word insurtech was first coined.
Mhm.
So it's really one of the phrases in the report is that insurtech is the grit and the oyster of the UK insurance sector. And that, I think, is a really apt way to describe the way the insurtechs really sort of stimulate the insurance industry in the UK to innovate. And they are, I think they're really doing a good job. And, those figures really back that up. And I think it's very apt talking about oysters and things while I'm sitting on a beach here, Danny.
Exactly. We could not talk about the beach, of course. Hope you get some oysters. But so maybe on the something we spoke about leading up to this on the topic of change. So wide variety of members that you have, but are there any consistencies or themes that you're seeing in those insurtech organizations driving change into this regulated industry?
Yes, I think that the insurtechs are really, forcing the rest of the insurance industry, which can be very traditional, it's forcing it to innovate. Because either the insurtechs, they used to kind of in the beginning of the insurtech phase, were disrupting. Now, they're I would say they're partnering and collaborating. But again, it's driving that innovation within insurers, and it's, making the UK a really attractive destination for incoming insurtechs. We have members who are coming from all over the globe because they want to come to the UK because the UK has that right environment, where they can really grow their business. And then it's a sort of testing ground. And then they can also go further and go to other locations worldwide. So I can give lots of examples. I think that, and lots of reasons why, but we could come on to that.
Well, no, I mean that's maybe a good segue. So maybe this is meant to be informative. So yeah, please share.
Well, I think that you can trace this as far back as when the UK was the first market to have price comparison websites.
Okay.
So you can almost consider those to be early forms of insurtech because they were a whole new distribution channel, totally digital and very customer friendly. And that's, all the sort of ticking all the boxes in terms of driving, complete innovation in the world of insurance, which was like in those days, still paper and pen, right? So, you're filling in a proposal form. So it's sort of now we're at the stage where we're using all kinds of exciting technology to do things differently. And UK is again, at the forefront of things like telematics, telematics, to help underserved sections of the market. Young drivers is a really good example to help them to access insurance based on the way they actually drive and to then drive change in their behavior. So that's a really successful illustration of the use of technology to create new markets and enable some people who weren't able to access insurance before. We're seeing it also in the world of life and health insurance, where companies are using wearable devices to determine insurance pricing. So your insurance, your health insurance is based on, how you behave, and you could actually change that behavior and improve your insurability. Really exciting stuff there. Um, and, I really like the use of sensor technology to help really accurately forecast flood risk, weather risks, so that the sensor, tells you straight away you're at risk of flood. Take steps
Hmm.
to mitigate that risk. And then if the flood occurs, even though you've taken some of the steps, it can mean an instant payout because it's using parametrics, meaning that once the flood levels reach a certain level, you get a payout accordingly. So there's no need for a claim form, no need for someone to assess the loss. The loss is determined by certain parameters, parametrics insurance. So these are just some really, big fundamental examples of how technology is driving change in insurance.
Really good. I didn't know that about the flood risk. So interesting. A point you made a few moments ago was about actually insurtechs maybe starting to be or behaviors the disruptors, but now they're taking more of a complementary partner type of relationship with maybe more established partners in there. I've got a few ideas myself, but I don't want to lead the witness to use a legal term. But what's your thoughts on maybe that change of behavior or evolution of behavior for actually the insurtechs organizations' willingness to kind of partner with some of the more established players?
Yes, I think that the the difficulty if you're an insurtech and you want to go direct to, well, there's lots of issues, okay? So first is distribution. Big companies, big incumbents have huge customer bases and huge marketing budgets to reach new customers. Clearly, insurtechs, which are startups, don't have that. So they want to bring their technology to the widest possible market. They need to work with an insurer to do that. So that's one example. The other thing is that insure tech startups or even scale-ups are not able to, provide cover unless they have somebody backing them and giving them capacity. So they need to, again, work with underwriters who can provide, you know, capacity so that they can take on more business as they grow. So that's another thing that insurtechs need to work with others to partner on. And there's lots of other areas as well. So it's a partnership relationship. And some insurtechs are not even in the insurance. They're not really insurance entities as such because they're not regulated to carry out any insurance activities, which is what they need to do if they're going to um, sell or distribute insurance. So they often are then wanting to provide software as a service to an insurer who is a regulated entity or an MGA or a broker or any other insurance regulated entity they will partner with that entity, someone in the value chain, and help them to process claims more quickly, underwrite more quickly, more accurately, pricing. There's lots of ways that they act as what we call value chain enablers. So they're really SaaS companies, but they have to partner with an entity in order to access the insurance market.
Interesting. Good. Well, I guessed one of those reasons. So sharing my knowledge is somewhat getting there. So one of the other things, kind of just maybe changing track to the future. So your own history and experience within the market. Maybe what are some of your own, call it a wish list of the application of technology into the insurance space that you'd like to see?
Yeah, so my wish list is really, I believe, we're in a world of big data, and we're in a world where there's really no need for insurance providers, whoever that may be, to be asking us the same question over and over. Your name, your address, like all of that data about you, about your property, about your health, about your assets that you're trying to cover. Everything that you try to cover, all that information is already online somewhere digitally, possibly even in the public domain.
Mhm.
So to me, there's every reason to digitalize every interaction that we have with insurance. So that's what I would like to see. And I know that our, Insurtech members are, would be thrilled to help help with that journey. The other thing is of course we have to mention AI on this podcast. And we've talked about Gen AI last year, and now we're talking about agentic AI, and there's as AI flavor of the month, all the time, and it's just speeding up and getting quicker. So we need to make sure that we're using AI to get rid of the faff, get rid of the delays, make the underwriting quicker, make the claim payment quicker, and also help customers by predicting loss. So
Mhm.
that's the other third thing I really want to see more of is not waiting around for things to go wrong. Not insurers not just being about covering you if something goes wrong and making a payment, but actually actively getting into your risk space and helping you mitigate those risks and helping you avoid and prevent, accidents from happening, your health from deteriorating, your pet from, getting a disease or whatever it is. Let's get all that rich data that insurance is sitting on, turning it back and giving it back to customers to help them manage their life better.
Good. Well, I was going to say any parting comments, but actually, that was quite good. But any parting comments, Melissa, for the viewers?
Sure. I think that I would really encourage people listening to this who are insurtechs, or if they're an incumbent and they're working with insurtechs, or even if they're an advisor and they want to find out more, please consider joining Insurtech UK. We've got an amazing website with all of our members listed there, all of our events, all the good stuff that we're doing, guidance, thought leadership, and so on. So check out our website, get involved, and also we've got lots of recommendations for the future. And we'd love to hear from you about what you'd like to see so we can advocate on behalf of the sector, and try to make the environment better for startups and scale-ups who are trying to, make this positive change. So get involved, and we'd love to hear from you.
Good. So with that, Melissa, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining. New insights for the show. So yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.